So, today we are going to talk about Lempicka, and this is way late to the game, obviously, because Lempicka has closed. So, I wanted to talk about the show today, the soundtrack that recently came out, and why I think potentially Lempicka didn't find its footing on Broadway. So let's just get straight into it. So, like every other theater kid, I have been listening to the Lempicka soundtrack since it came out recently, and I really enjoy it. I think it's poppy. I think it's a very fun score, and I really like a lot of the songs in it. Particularly, I like the song "Perfection," which is sung by the character Marinetti. um, I do also like Woman Is, which is one of the songs that was on the sessions. I think Perfection was as well, actually. I That song is sung by Lempicka, and I also like Paris Will Always Be Paris. I think that those are some of the standout songs of the show, and I think that the rest of the score, though, is generally really enjoyable. This is one of the shows that I was most excited for coming out this season. It's not based on an existing IP. I obviously was intrigued by Rachel Chapkin's involvement, and also the performers are great. I like Eden Espinosa, so I was very excited to see her. I actually didn't know Beth Leavel was in it until the day that I saw it, but I like her as well, so that was exciting for me. So let's first talk about the performances. So the two performers that were nominated from Lempicka for Tony Awards were Eden Espinosa, who plays the leading character Tamara, and I thought that her nomination was very well deserved. She's a very talented artist, and then also Amber Iman, who plays her love interest. One of her love interests was also nominated, and she's also very talented, has a great voice. Her song "Don't Bet Your Heart" is not one of my favorite songs from the show, but then she has another song in the second act. I'm looking at what it's called. What was it called? Is it Stay? Yeah, or The Most Beautiful Bracelet. Those songs I do enjoy. So I did think both were talented. I thought Beth Leavel was also very talented. This performer who was left out is George Aboud, who plays Marionetti. I thought that he was very engaging, and I know that would have been probably featured actor. That was a stacked category this season, but I thought that he was very engaging and one of the standouts of the show. So, given that, what I will say about Eden Espinosa's performance is, okay, so there's a line in the first song, and it's on the soundtrack too, where she says, "History's a bitch, but so am I." And I really didn't think that the character was that much of a bitch. So she's cheating on her husband, yes, with a woman. Also, I guess in real life, she was having an affair with the Baron, who she then ended up marrying. She's not really having an affair with him in the show, but she seems conflicted. I mean, yeah, it's like she's having an affair. That's not great. But she seems conflicted about the whole thing. She really just didn't. She seemed like someone who was just trying to survive a lot of the time and then taking some joy here and there. So the way that they sort of seems like they wanted to be portraying her as sort of this like hedonistic huge bitch just really didn't come across. I thought that Eden Espinosa was almost too likable for that. So that would be my critique there. I did like Amber Iman's character and portrayal as well. From what I've read about Lempicka, I think that she's more of a composite character, the character that she plays, Rafaela. But I thought that she was engaging. I thought she's very talented, and I did think that she deserved her nomination as well. Now let's talk specifically about the plot, because, like I said, I did find that characterization was a little bit confusing, and like we're sort of supposed to think like she's like, you know, serving word I can't say, on TikTok. But she just she came across as too likable to me. So the number one thing that I found confusing, the like right off the bat, Beth Levo plays the Baroness, but then she also in the beginning plays Tamara's mother, and I did not get that they were not the same character, that she was playing the mother and then she was playing the Baroness and the Baroness wasn't her mother. I just didn't think that that was very clear. So I thought that that needed to be like cleared up. Like I said, I found the characterization a little bit confusing. I found the backstory very intriguing and compelling. The way that she barters to do whatever she can to get her husband out. They escape to Paris, and then her husband is, kind of struggling with what his place is in the world. She sort of falls into the art scene, and there's sort of the rise of the Nazis that happens, all of this in the background, and then her escape. I thought the ending where it's like, oh, now the Baroness is dying and they're going to get married, because she's divorced. I thought that that felt very rushed. So I don't think that it was a perfect show for some of those reasons. I also don't think that it necessarily lingered enough on like a lot of the themes that it was trying to portray, but I did enjoy it. What I loved about the show were the costumes and the visuals and the score. I thought that those were phenomenal. I thought it was one of the most visually striking shows of the season, and that I really enjoyed. So overall, I would recommend, if you haven't listened to the soundtrack, I would recommend it. And I really I had high hopes for the show. I do not think that it was a perfect show, but I feel like it just needed a little bit more editing before it was in its final polished form. I think that the bones are there. The songs are great. I think that just some of the characterization and everything needed to be shook out more. So those are my thoughts on Lempicka, why it closed, the soundtrack, the performances, and I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks. Bye.